One.
Hi, I'm Jerry.
I'm Nick.
And this is our presentation. We chose to title our presentation The Chem Lifestyle of Brave New World, Huxley's Depiction versus Our Reality. And the purpose of our presentation is to analyze a chapter that we were assigned from Brave New World Revisited and compare and contrast it with the elements and concepts found in Brave New World. And the chapter that we were assigned to analyze and compare and contrast was chemical persuasion. Chemical persuasion was mainly based around the concept of widespread and forced use of a chemical or chemicals to control a population, whether it be in Huxley's fictional utopia or in our own societies today. In his revision, Huxley debates the possibility of a brave new world occurring today. He discusses the reality that drugs can be manipulated by a dictator if he so wished to create his own utopia or an ultimate loyal and efficient population that can easily be maintained under his control by the enforcement of this chemical use. One of the main concepts of the chapter was soma, so we did a few slides to go more in depth on it. The drug in the book is known as soma, was a ploy implemented and enforced by the world controllers to continually manipulate the people and to enforce the rules and agenda of the New World State and to keep the population happy and mentally stable as well so that they can perform their duties that they're assigned more efficiently. Although soma is not possible to make, Huxley discussed how he believed other drugs that are in the current world are able to replicate the controlling factor of soma and allow dictators to control their people. Is Huxley's fiction our reality? Or is Huxley's fiction, could it be our reality? Huxley believed this to be a real possibility, recognizing the real drugs that embody the composed effects of the theoretical drug soma in Brave New World. Through Huxley's research into drugs that tried to be soma but failed, and other drugs that are similar to soma, he develops an argument to support his idea that Brave New World is a possibility in today's world. And here we go more in depth on soma and give a little bit of a background. The concept of soma originated from ancient Indian lore and was supposedly able to give the user temporary heightened abilities and immortal or godlike sensation at no physical or mental cost in the long run to the user. In Indian cultures, soma was used mostly for religious purposes. The drug allowed users to enter a heavenly state of mind and to be at peace in a time of prayer or leadership. We were able to see this same concepts of like a sort of religious purpose and heavenly state of mind in relation to soma in Brave New World. This is pictured when Bernard goes to this ceremony where they're all doing soma, and everyone is portrayed and pictured to be commencing like such immoral acts like that of like those of the Greek gods and stuff, and like commencing an orgy and things of like unsurmountable pleasures and delights, and they're just living lavishly.
Okay, so my part was on how real-world drugs are recreating the soma-like effects. So through this discussion on improbable drugs, Huxley related our modern medicine to the world of Brave New World. In Brave New World, soma was used as a controllant to keep the population subdued and in line with the rules of the regime. The drug took away all the bad things about life and put the user into an alternative state of mind that put them at ease and also made it so that they were more efficient in their day-to-day life, as was stated earlier. It did this by, like I said, taking all the negative things out of their life, and basically giving them a fresh start every time they took the drug. The negotiation of stress in their life, or the negation of stress in their life, boosted their morale and uh, in turn boosted their efficiency. Huxley researched real world drugs that would be able to recreate some of the properties of soma. Stimulants such as cocaine or amphetamines give the user temporary heightened senses, but come with severe downsides to human health. Alcohol, known by biblical psalmists to maketh glad the heart of man, also brings about a false sense of euphoria, while under its influence, that come with negative health effects. The false euphoric feelings that users get from these drugs are sort of like what happens with soma, but on a much smaller scale. Now, if we look at a drug such as peyote, we inch a little bit closer to soma. Peyote is a drug that Native Americans use um, in their religious rites to get closer to each other and bring together their community, much like how soma did in Brave New World. The drug permits its user to enter a paradise-like state at no detriment to the health of the user, other than having a horrible flavor in their mouth once the drug is chewed on, which is how they intake the drug, and the 2-hour period of nausea that occurs with use. Still, though, this does not replicate the same exact properties of soma that were discussed earlier. Huxley found that the closest drug in the modern world goes by the name of Diener and is thought to increase the production of acetylcholine in the body, in turn boosting the effectiveness and activity of the nervous system. Diener users need less sleep, they feel more alert and more cheerful, as well as they think faster and they think better. The drug gives a sense of happiness, as seen in soma, to the person that uses it, as well as an increase in efficiency in the person, but it does lack the controlling factor of that soma contains. This being said, although soma itself was not a possibility in our current reality, that does not mean that the utopia that the drug created in Brave New World isn't either. Huxley discussed how the combination of these drugs at appropriate times and dosages would allow the leader to essentially control their people. He mentioned that during times of crisis, if stimulants were distributed to the people, they would gain a false sense of euphoria that would lessen their worry. Tranquilizers would be distributed when the population's alertness and energy is unwanted, which would put them into a state of mind where they would not give their master any trouble. Hallucinogens could be given to people who are experiencing depression or lack of motivation in life to boost their morale and help them get started on a path that would benefit the rest of society. Okay, so the combination of these drugs would give the world leader the ability to control the way that his people think, as well as they feel and act. If you look back on how soma affected those in Brave New World, you will see that they had a very similar experience to this, meaning that Huxley proved that his utopian fantasy that he created is in fact a real possibility in the modern world, even without there being one singular drug with the effects of soma. Although Huxley's utopia may be a possibility with the introduction of new and improved drugs and technology, it will most likely never be a reality in our world today due to the restrictions placed upon governments by higher powers and possible interference by other countries with the utopian state if it were to be created. And that's it.